Now I want to talk about Kellen Mond because this is a guy I was interested in before the Senior Bowl. He won the Senior Bowl MVP. Trask didn't play. Mac Jones didn't play. This guy seemed to seize an opportunity, but I wasn't there. So what'd you see from him in the practices, and what'd you hear about him?
Can I just say this first before I preface anything that I have to say on Kellen Mond?
Yeah.
All the quarterback play this week was awful. Good God. Ian Book is not good. You know, the guy that you say I look like, he's not good. Jamie Newman. Franks or something like that. Yeah.
I think it's just the facial hair.
The facial hair. Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of see it, but I was like, come on, man. You know, Ian Book was just like, dude, there's a read right in front of you, he decides to take off. And I'm just like, Jamie Newman has no sort of pocket presence. He's raw as hell, man.
Like, he just stands there until he gets touched.
Like Patrick Jones went crazy in the second quarter on a drive that he had where it was like 2 or 3 in a row where he was just beating the man off and just destroying him. Like, dude, if he's done it once, he's going to do it again. Get out of there. Get that ball out of there and move. Like, he has no sort of feel in the pocket, right? With Kellen Mond, and this is the thing that I noticed. First quarter, he had 32 yards passing. Every throw was at somebody's foot. Every throw was over somebody's head. And everybody was like, oh, like in the crowd, like there wasn't that many people in the stands. So people were like, oh, you could hear it through that. Oh, but here's what I found. When I was able to speak with Matt Rule, Carolina Panthers coach, because they did allow us, you know, access to them. You know, someone brought up a question and asked him about play calling. And he said, this is the way we're going to do it. Every quarter, I'm going to give it to somebody else. So the first quarter, Kellen Mond was in there with somebody. The third quarter, the play caller changed. I can't tell you who exactly it was, but that play caller was smart enough to get throws in the middle of the field, get him going. It's almost like, again, a guy who's breaking shots, but he gets that one layup to go in.
Give him a layup. Give him a free throw. Let him see the ball go into the hoop and build some confidence.
Build it up. Right. So in the third quarter is when he threw for 170-something yards. He threw for 130 of them in that third quarter.
And he looked good in that third quarter. I did watch.
So I'll give him that, you know, and they were scheming it open. Quentin Morris had an amazing catch over the middle. You know, he's a tight end, Bowling Green. Like
but also the wide receiver from Florida, Grimes made a nice catch.
And look, Frank Darby and all those guys, like he was getting them going. Like it was good. Like it was fun to watch, you know, in that third quarter. My concern is who is this guy? Is he the guy in the third quarter or is he the guy in the first? Because it's so polar opposite. I'm talking about the spectrum was literally everybody groaning to like, oh, okay, here's some throws and here, right. But the first quarter was abysmal, Grant. It was bad. It was real bad.
Fair. Okay, let me ask you some more stuff about him. In person, is he big? How does he look? He's big?
He's a big guy. Yeah. I mean, you know, it was big enough.
Is he Kaepernick big or is he Alex Smith big? What does he look like?
He's not. He can see over the line and things like that. And like sometimes what I was noticing is that like the throws were like, it's like he's like almost like bringing it up and then going through it. But
he's got a quick little...
Right. It's like a little bit of a hitch, but he was fine in the third quarter. But it's just a tale of two quarters. When I go back and I watch it, that first quarter, I'm like, good God, what happened? And in the third quarter, I'm like, okay. But I want to, you know, that little nugget that I got from Matt Rule, I thought that was interesting that when they switched the play caller and they put him back in, he actually succeeded and he was looking pretty good.
It almost sounds like Rule saying like, well, the first play caller didn't get him in a rhythm. Like we got to do better. It's something to that. I mean, he's a kid.
But let's put it out there too. The first half of that game was really bad as far as quarterback play goes. Like across the board. It wasn't just, like I said, it wasn't just him. It's just anybody. We were just like, oh, can somebody do something at this point?
All right, one more question about Mond, and then I'm going to give you my impression because I've never seen him in person. But how did his athleticism strike you?
He moved.
Is he fast?
You know, like he moved. Like he's, again, you don't need fast. You just need someone who's aware, right? That's what Jamie Newman doesn't have. He's fast, but he doesn't feel the rush coming. So it's like, dude, sometimes we just need you to be able to be mobile in the pocket, or maybe just take a few steps outside the pocket and get yourself moved.
But he's a legit scramble threat in the NFL.
Yeah. So there was a play. I can't remember what quarter it was that he's on the run and he's making a move, and the throw should go to the sideline. Unfortunately, the placement of the ball was like on the receiver's hip, like his back hip. So when he went to go, it was an incompletion, and I was like, see, that's what I mean. Ball placement. If you're going to be moving in that direction, get it out there to that side, and that's what I didn't see. Okay, so let me make the case for why Kellen Mond is one of the more intriguing prospects in this draft. First of all, he's late first at best. Late first at best. You don't have to take him top 20. And what he's got going for him is upside because of his athleticism and experience. He's a 4-year starter in the SEC. He started, I want to say, 44 games, won 31 of them, has a touchdown to interception ratio better than 2-1,
His completion percentage is 59, but if you take out that rookie year, it's 60. So it's like from the Bill Parcells school of scouting quarterbacks, he checks all those big picture boxes. He's committed. He's a senior. He finished what he started. He improved. He's accurate. He's seasoned. So for a dual threat quarterback with upside, he comes into the league pretty experienced. But the main thing I like about him is, again, what I was talking about, like comparing Herbert and Tua. If you look at what he's working with at Texas A&M, it's not a lot. And that's why I think it was interesting to see him play with like Florida receivers at the Senior Bowl. Like he's playing with, a tight end who's decent and a couple running backs and not much. If you put him at Florida with Kyle Pitts, he'd be great. You put him at Alabama with Devontae Smith and all, he'd be great.
See, and I think that point can be flipped for Mac Jones. The same thing, right?
That's what I'm saying. Think about him at Texas A&M. It would not have worked.
That's my issue with him, man. Like I'm good on Jones, but and then Mond, it's like I see what you're saying. I see it, and I saw it in glimpses. I saw it in flashes.
That's the case for it. But he's not naturally accurate.
Right. I saw it in flashes, but it's just, again, who are you? Are you that guy that I saw in the first quarter, or are you that guy I saw in the third quarter? And it's just, it's going to be, I've got to dig in a little bit more. I want to see his pro day. I want to see what he's going to do at the combine, because then I'll get a better idea of it. Like, it's like everybody after I got out of the Senior Bowl was like, where's your mock? I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm doing a mock at this point yet. So it's just interesting that, for the Senior Bowl to be a showcase for everybody, the quarterback position was just so bad across the board, man. It was so disappointing, man. It was so disappointing.
I just feel like before we move on from Mond, comparing him to like Jordan Love, who was the 26th pick in the draft, something fourth, 25th,
that's a good comp.
Whatever.
That's a good comp.
I think Mond's a better prospect because Jordan Love, he had better numbers. He had a great year. He played at Utah State. This guy's a 4-year starter at the SEC. I just think he's physically similar and I like him better. So if he ends up going in the late 20s, I think I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I think he's going to be a player that the league likes better than the media does.
Yeah. And then again, like I said, with everything that's going on, another thing that Matt Rule said that was really, really, really impactful when I first spoke with him. And first of all, what I learned too is two things. Matt Rule is a hell of a coach, and he's coached every single position in his life, right? O-line, tight end, running back, everything. There's a stark difference between Brian Flores and Matt Rule. Brian Flores walks in, he starts the practice off, he gets everybody going, doesn't say a word. When he gets to the end, he breaks it down. Yep. Matt Rule, if you were listening to the Senior Bowl and watching it, anytime you heard someone scream, that was Matt Rule. Matt Rule's that guy. He's that guy. So when he was talking about, I asked him, or somebody asked him, hey, how does COVID now change your scouting look for quarterbacks? Because remember, Matt Rule's in the quarterback discussion, right? Because they need to upgrade their quarterback position. He says, you missed that personal touch. And he told the story about how last year at the Senior Bowl, he was in the elevator with someone who was going to be drafted highly, did not say specifics. He said after the 42nd ride with that player, he knew that he wasn't a fit with his team. And he said that's the part that he's missing is the personal touch. He said that he got off the elevator and he looked at his guys and he was like, we're not drafting that kid. He's off our board. Yes. So what did you say in 30, 45
Agents out there, do not let your clients take an elevator ride with Matt Rule because he will write that dude off.
Man, when he said that, it's like, that's what's weird about this draft process, right? Draft picks are usually a crapshoot anyway. Now you're talking about even more now because you're missing that personal touch, right? You're missing like remember Ja'Kai Polite? Ja'Kai Polite's like number one first round. He bombed all of his interviews, and it was more indicative of his integrity and the intangibles that you can't scout. And I didn't want to believe
Jacob Eason last year, right? I love Jacob Eason, and people were talking like, could he be in the late first with Jordan Love? And for whatever reason, every team was like, dude, you don't get it, do you? Like, you don't get what's up. And he fell to day 3. See you, Jacob.
It's just that all this now is just a very, very much a crapshoot at this point, even more so than it was. And that's what's going to make this weird. Guys are going to get overdrafted because of their hype and what they did and things like that. I don't think that everybody's fully had the chance to process all this stuff. And it's just everybody's trying to do the best they can. So this draft, you're going to see people go really high. And then 3 years down the line, we're going to look back and say, what in God's name were you thinking? But you have to remember it all in context of what's going on right now.
Real quick, my favorite question of the day so far. Before Stafford trade, McVay said that Goff and Wolford would compete for the starting job. Should the Niners be interested in Wolford as a cheap option?
I typed out a joke tweet where I was like, oh, well, we can still go get the best quarterback on the Rams, and that's Wolford, but I was just like, nah,
he's their Mullins, right? Same thing.
Huh?
He's their Mullins, right?
But he's got wheels.
He's the back. No, right. But he's the backup that the whole team or part of the team started to feel was better than the starter.
Or they
might have
feel
been.
like, okay, we're not screwed.
Yeah.